It's coming along nicely, but we're still missing a few things. One of those things includes a new chain and new front sprocket. Now you've already seen me put on the new rear sprocket, and now it's time to complete the drive line. And I've got here a D.I.D 520 VX3 gold chain. And it was kind of interesting because I had one on order that was 120 links, and I canceled that because I realized that they made ones that are 116 links. So now I won't have to cut a link off of a new chain. Yay! So if you're looking for a specific link pack, usually bikes come in 16, 18, 20, probably somewhere in between. Go to D.I.D's website and probably order from there, because when I was on Rottweiler's website, they only had 120s available. So save yourself some time and get the pre-cut chains. It's just easier. And I'm excited because this is going to be gold. So I think the first thing that we're going to need to do is get that front sprocket on there. And where did I put it? Yeah. All right. And something interesting about this sprocket actually is I ordered one from Rottweiler, and I ordered a dampened sprocket. Now there's dampened and non-dampened sprockets, and I'm going to do my best to explain the difference between the two. But a dampened sprocket looks like this, where it's got a rubber damper pretty much in the way of just the bare metal. And these are typically what you see that come from the factory. And the reason they're dampened is basically because it reduces chain chatter, so it's not as audible as you're riding, compared to a non-dampened sprocket, which if you look at this thing, it's just metal. That's it. So dampened, non-dampened. Rubber, no rubber. So what happened is one part number off, and I get a non-dampened sprocket, which, I mean, hey, is what it is. I'll give it a shot. From what I've done on the research, side of things, is the non-dampened doesn't do anything to your bike. It's safe to run. It's more than okay. But I guess the con is that you can hear the chain a lot more, since you don't have this nice rubber piece kind of muting that metal on metal sound. But apparently you feel a little bit snappier, more power. I don't know. I've always been used to dampened sprockets on street bikes and non-dampened on dirt bikes. So it's basically a street dirt bike. And hopefully I'll kind of, put together a video in the future, or try to capture some of the sound if there is a difference without having to put this one back on. But you get it, whatever. At the same time, I also got a new crush washer for this sprocket itself. You don't have to, but it's $5, and well, I don't know, you're already here, so you might as well replace it. So I guess what we're gonna need to do is put this thing on. So I'm gonna shut up, and I'm gonna put it on. Non-dampened sprocket. Oh, quick note, this little ring side, you're gonna notice there's a flat side, and then there's a side with a ridge or a ring on it. That ring side goes towards the engine. Just like that. New crush washer. And bam, away we go. So obviously as of right now, I can't actually get this torqued to spec. So I'm gonna leave it just like this until I get the chain on. Then I'll be able to secure it. But that's pretty much it. I'm not gonna actually bend that crush washer just yet either. I'm gonna wait until everything's torqued. But it looks like it's, dang, that is tight in there. But yeah, all right, looks good. All right, now it is time to unbox this chain. Oh, it's like buying meat. Oh, that's gonna look so good. All right, so in this package, you're gonna have obviously the chain itself, and then you're also gonna have this master link here. Make sure you don't lose this. But for right now, we're gonna set this aside because you're gonna need some brake cleaner and you're going to need a towel. And typically these chains have a bunch of crap on them, like a just nasty sort of grease to them, just because, well, you don't want it to rust if it's sitting on a shelf for a long time. So a little bit of brake clean on a towel to clean this up before we actually string it on the bike. This towel's pretty dirty. I need a new towel. And trust me, you want to try to get as much of this crap off of the chain as you can, because that's just another thing that you could fling all over your beautifully clean motorcycle. All right, so now that we're wiped down, we got most of the grease off. I'll probably do it again before I operate the bike for the first time. But let's string this thing through, and I'm excited to see what it looks like. Perfect. So you may notice that there's a lot of slack in this specific chain. That's okay for right now. I'd be more worried once we get everything tightened down to readjust this chain. But it's also a good time to recount and make sure that you do have 116 links. I probably should have done this before I put it on the bike, but oh, it's just so good. 49, 40, 41, 42, 43, 115, 116. So I got 116. Okay. That's how many you need. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to, yeah, because this seems like extra long. So I think I'm going to loosen this rear nut, and I'm going to scooch this wheel back a little bit, because this definitely seems long. I don't know if y'all are seeing this, but this seems like really long. Huh. I mean, this thing's all the way back. Huh. I may have to cut a link. I may have to take one off anyway. God damn it. Why is that so long though? Son of a bitch. I have to cut it down. I have to cut it down. So with that being open-ended like that, looking the same, I need to take at least that off. So I gotta saw that little end off right there. So I guess it's 115 links. Well, let's get to it. So now that there's no damage to the other side, and this is basically sheared off, I gotta press it out. Boop. And there you go. That is out. Look at that. You get to keep a cute little souvenir. I think I'll make a keychain out of that. Hey. And bam. Okay. And then obviously, once we get this master link on, I'll be able to readjust the chain and the slack from there. But I thought I cut it too short. Oh my God, it's been a day. Don't do that to me. Oh. So now that this is back on, I think this is a good point to check and make sure you got everything on here that you want to have on here, like any sort of chain guides or protectors. I'm not going to put this protector back on. I think, well, let's see how it goes without it, or what it does to change some things. I don't think it'll affect too much. I think it'd be just okay. I could be wrong, but let's find out. Let's see. So what you're gonna need is this master link, and you're gonna need to open it up. All right, so then once you get this opened, you basically have your master link and a crush plate, and then you've got lube and 4 O-rings. First thing you're gonna wanna do is lube up these O-rings. Gush them around. So then we're gonna take 2 O-rings out of your baggie, put them on the master link itself, and this is going to go through the back of the chain to connect it. And bam, there you go. Now you're going to take your other 2 O-rings and put them on and on, and follow up with your plate. So now that we have this plate on here, what we're gonna need to do is press that into place. So you're gonna need to get your tool back out. All right, so now that this chain is clamped on here, what we're gonna need to do is we're gonna need to mushroom the ends of those pins. Now, if you have this specific tool or pretty much any other chain puller tool, you're gonna need a few different things to set this up to make sure it works right. Now, the first thing is you're gonna need to find an anvil that's gonna go in this side of the tool. And then on your right-hand side, or the screw side, you're gonna need this little pin, I should say. And the way I assembled this one, which I'm going to assume is the correct way, is by putting the little spring on top of the pin into here, screwing this on, and going from there. So anvil on this side, and this tool set up on this side to start to mushroom that. All right, let's give this a shot. And now we're going to mushroom this down. I hope I don't mess this up. All right, so I've mushroomed it a little bit, but we're gonna measure. So I'm gonna back this back out. I'm gonna take our good old caliper here, which is another tool that I bought for this job specifically. And I need this mushroom to come to either between 5.5 and 5.8 millimeters. So I'm going to widen this sucker out, close this back up, and we're at 5.2. So if we look at this and we measure again, oh wait, it's a tough day today. I'm at actually 5.1. So repeat this process until we get to the 5.5 millimeter mark. Maybe a little bit more. Maybe that one a little bit too much. 5.6, 5.69, 5.7, 5.6. That looks to me like it is good. I will check later. Now comes the fun part. I need to set chain slack. So I'm going to loosen this wheel up a little bit. So we should be a little on the loose side, but okay. I'm going to lock it here. And then we're going to put this thing on the ground and we're going to torque that nut. And this thing gets to come down for the first time in a month and a half, almost 2 months of being on this stand. All right, here we go. The moment I have been waiting for. Okay. Down. Whoa. It is on the ground. This main drive sprocket here needs to get torqued to 80 Newton meters. That's 80 Newton meters. Okay, so that is on there. 80 Newton meters. Oh, and bam, that should be everything. Now I still need to mess around with the chain a little bit, make sure that is not as tight as it actually is, and get that fully adjusted. But now everything is back on this motorcycle, except for my number plate. So that's coming up next, and hopefully I can get that done in a fairly short time. I'm hoping. I don't know. It's getting a lot harder than I expected. But it's on the ground. It's on the ground. Not right now, but like it made it on the ground today. Ah, we're so close to being done. So close to being done. And I can't wait to see this with the rest of the carbon fiber crap on there, like the skid plate and the swing arm guards. Oh, and that chain looks so good. And that's one thing where I'm not putting this back on there. I'm gonna leave that off because, well, it's really only there to keep the bike clean. The rest of the guides should be fine, but I'm gonna leave it just like that. But this thing is looking awesome. We're getting closer every single day. Just hoping that chain doesn't fall off. But I hope you enjoyed today's video. And if I missed anything, if you've got any questions, if you've got any tips or tricks that maybe I missed that could have made this a little bit easier, leave them in the comments down below. And stay tuned for the final reveal of this motorcycle coming together. I can't wait. Until next time, remember, keep riding.